So hello again, everyone, and welcome to the next in our series of webcasts that we're bringing you from Travel Weekly. It's part of our series now of our roadmap to recovery, as we're starting to see some green shoots at the end of a very, very difficult period for us all. But I'm delighted to be joined today by three leading travel agents who are right on the front line speaking to consumers over the last few weeks and going through it all. So we've got Tony Mann, who's from Idle Travel up in Bradford. Hello, Tony.
Hi.
And Sue Alexander from Eagle Travel in Bedford.
Hello.
Hi, Sue. And finally, Phil Evans, who's the owner of Cruise Nation in Swansea.
Hi, guys.
So we've got a real spread around the country and different types of businesses. So it'd be great to hear what your experiences have been, particularly this week, because all of you have returned to your shops or offices on Monday, when of course the government said that non-essential retail outlets could reopen. So Tony, let's start with you. I know you said you were feeling, quite energized at being back in the office. So tell us what Monday was like, and perhaps, the rest of the week so far.
Well, Monday was like not being able to sleep Sunday night. In fact, a bit like going on holiday when you're really looking forward to it and you know you should sleep and you can't sleep because you're all excited and you've packed your bag and everything. So yeah, didn't get much sleep, really excited. Really just to get ready for work was honestly absolutely amazing. I mean, I've not been to prison, but I can only think it's like escaping from prison that day. It was absolutely brilliant. So to drive to work, I've never enjoyed going to work so much in my life. It's just like the freedom of it has been amazing. So yeah, just the actual excitement's been amazing. To get here, to think that, all the past 3-4 months or whatever, hopefully start of a new era as well. So it's been superb. And actually, customers coming through the door, actually speaking to people face to face as opposed to over the phone, has been brilliant. And we've had customers in, we've had appointments, etc. So yeah, as you can see, I'm a bit of an excited kiddie, really, which takes a lot for me, to be fair. So yeah, it's been brilliant. It's been amazing. So
great. Okay. Well, we'll come back to ask you some specifics about what you had to do to prepare for it. But let's go round first of all and ask Sue about your experience on Monday.
Okay, well, we thought long and hard about whether we should open because Bedford's got quite a high infection rate still. But as I say, we thought long and hard. We put a lot of things in place anyway, so we decided to go ahead and open. We're by appointment only. So a little bit of trepidation, I think, more than anything. So there was excitement, like Tony said, but a little bit of worry, really, as well. If it was going to be worthwhile doing. And in fairness, walking into the office with it all spaced out looked a little bit strange, with nobody else in there, just me and my partner in the back office. It seemed a bit strange, but we had quite a few phone calls. We've had a couple of bookings, a couple of very nice bookings, Regent Seven Seas, which was lovely. So yeah, a little bit mixed feelings, really.
And when you said it was just, said it was a bit strange because it was just you and your partner, how many would you normally have in your branch then? Did you just choose to only 2 of you go back?
We've furloughed 5.
Right.
So at the moment, until we know how busy we are, we felt that it's probably best for the time being for it just to be me sitting in the front office. And Carol she runs the sort of the back office side of things. So social distancing reasons, it's just safer really for 2 of us to be in. When it becomes busy enough, we'll bring one other back to sit the other end of the office, and hopefully as things sort of progress, we can bring the girls back sort of slowly, one at a time, maybe to to sort of cover inquiries, hopefully.
Of course. Okay.
Good, but not. Monday was busy. Yesterday and today have been quieter. But it's still nice to be back in the office, to be fair.
I'm sure. Oh, well done. And let's talk to you then, Phil, because it's a different proposition. You've got a big call centre in Swansea. And how many people have come back to work? What part of the opera, is it the whole thing or just some people?
So, I mean, we have been working all the way through. So, you know, we were working from home, we still had sales employed, customer services, etc. But the feedback that we were getting is they were missing that kind of communication that they weren't getting when you're working from home. We're quite fortunate that we have a big premises, so it was quite easy to obey the sort of 2-meter rule and bring people back. So it was really down to the demands of the staff more than me saying, right, we're going to open from this date, because in my mind, I was going to open in July. But yeah, we came
but the team wanted to be back together again. The
team wanted to come back because, you know, in the cruise industry, there's so many different sort of rules with rebooking and cruiser confidence. They just need that hand holding that you get when you're all part of a team. So as I said, we've brought 12 back at the moment. And then from the 1st of July, we'll go to 24. So about 50% of the business will be back for the 1st of July.
Okay. All right. So let's just talk then about what you've had to do. I mean, I know you said your office was large enough so that social distancing is okay for 12. But perhaps if we can just go around and start with you then, Phil. I mean, have you had to put any other measures in place, or some of these practical things? I mean, I know you're not face-to-face with the customer with screens, but have you had to put anything in the office?
Absolutely. So we actually employed a company to come in and do full health and safety audit for the premises. And they came in and said, right, any touch point has to have a hand sanitizer station next to it. You know, wipes, we have screens, we have gloves, everything that you could possibly think of. We have in the call center here. Now, we also have the visors as well. They're not mandatory, but if a staff member feels they want to wear an acrylic visor, we have those as well.
But no mask, so that would be rather than a mask, because presumably
these are kind of the plastic screens that go around your face. So we have those, and as I said, even though they're not compulsory, because we have on average 2.5 meters, you know, between every staff member. They are available should a staff member want to wear one of those. So far, nobody wants it, but
you don't know. So you've got it there just in case. Okay.
And we followed all the rules as per what were given to us.
And what about, you know, presumably you have like a place where they can go and make tea and get their lunch, and I mean that I know that's a problem for some places where they're just working out around refreshments for staff members.
Yeah, so we're not allowing any hot food. So the use of the microwave is out. You also have to have a closed cup. We were told that they weren't allowed to have an open mug on the desk. This is what we were told. So everybody has a closed cup. And everyone has been instructed that they have to wipe down the kettle handles, the tap handles, so on and so forth, every time they touch something.
Okay, really interesting. All right, thanks, Phil. Tony, what about you? What have you had to put any sort of marks on the floor to keep people distanced, or have you done the sort of perspex screens? What's happened at Idle Travel?
Yes, so outside, so we're in a shopping mall, and so we have gone to an appointment basis only for coming into the shop. Be it if we've got no appointments, then we will let them in. So what we've gone for outside is there's like a long mat outside telling them to social distance and to wait here. So the mall's allowed us to do that. I've got a big pull-up stand that says we're back, we're open. So that's the outside part. And then inside we've 5 desks, but only 2 of the desks because of the social distancing are opening, and we will only allow 2 customers per desk, so a total of 4 customers and a total of 2 members of staff in the office. Because to be honest, when we're busy, we're extremely busy, and we always have queues a lot of the time. So obviously we had to manage that, not knowing what would happen if anybody had want to come. So there's that part, and as Phil said, we've done a risk assessment. We've got the gloves, we've got the masks, we've got bespoke screens. We've obviously got Idle Travel all over the screen as well. Anything to market anything. So we've had big bespoke screens across the desks. And procedures for when people come in, how we let them in. We've got a bespoke hand sanitizer unit that I had made because it had to be a certain colour. I'm a bit OCD with my shop, so I just didn't want any old tap in the office. So we had one made. So we take them to that, make them sanitizer and sit them down. We've had to put tape on the floor, so I didn't want too much things on the floor because I don't like that either. But there is some tape to make sure they can't go to certain parts of the office as well. And yeah, masks for them, gloves.
And are your staff, sorry Tony, but are your staff wearing a mask when they're doing a consultation with a customer and chatting about holidays?
They've decided not to. They're there for them. And I said if they felt they wanted to do it, that's totally up to them. The screens are very big though. You know, it's a bit like going into a bank. So these screens are completely across the desk. So the phones and the computers are completely behind really. So you know, when them customers are sat down, the screens above them. Yeah. So no, they felt they didn't want to. I'd said as they go to the doors and things like that you know they need to do it. And then obviously we have a procedure once the client has gone. We then have a full clean down of you know any points they've touched, etc. The door, and then we have a cleaning to come in on the night when we finish. And we've got a back office where the kitchen is, so there's no hot drinks whatsoever. They all bring their own water and everything. So yeah, so a completely different way of obviously selling and how we run the office, but we've managed, and it's worked better. It's worked better than I thought.
So it's better than you thought. And in terms of the customers that did come in the last couple of days, you know, have they been sort of slightly put off by the screen, or actually do they get quite used to it quite quickly?
Yeah, they're quite used to it. If you think about it, and I'd thought about before, when you go to the post office or you go to the bank, we've been used to them having screens. And, you know, I think now I can be a bank manager because I'm behind the screen. So I probably upgraded my job. So yeah, people are really used to it, really. You know, because they're that big, it seems part of the desk anyway. I mean, it is weird at first, but no, people are not bothered at all about it. And they're happy to, you know, use the hand sanitizer and everything. So okay. So far, and the way outside, you know, as well. So it's so far, touch wood, it's worked well.
Brilliant. And Sue, you said that it was weird going into your office because the desks are quite far apart. So is that what you've done? You've sort of separated the desks a bit more, and
well, the desks are all in a row, and it's quite a small office, so we can't actually move them to make them more socially distanced. So what we've done is just at the moment, we've got tape on the floor where the furthest people can stand near us. So we've got 2 meters distancing tapes. We've got hand sanitizers, we've got the usual, the wipes and everything else. We've got masks if anyone feels they want to wear them. We haven't actually had anybody in the office just yet. We're slightly off the high street and we don't have a huge footfall anyway. A lot of our work is done over the phone or via email. I have got people coming in tomorrow, so it will be a learning curve really as to whether they feel happy with the arrangements. We haven't gone for screens. We did think about it, but it might be something we might have to do when we bring the girls back in, bring the staff back in that we might have to put screens between us because we feel there's enough room between us and our clients. But it's just whether we can socially distance the girls enough really to to be able to manage it. Other than that, we've followed the advice with the sanitizers, with the cleanliness. Everything's wiped down, all the touch points are wiped down. We've got disinfectant everywhere. There was an interesting point about mugs having a lid on them. At the moment, it's only me, so I'm not too worried about it. But I'll look into that in the future because that could be something that we've got to think about. But I think moving forward, with the girls coming back in, we will be asking them to bring their own travel mugs in to stop anybody picking up.
This is going to be a great branding opportunity for a tour, isn't it? To give you hand sanitizer and mugs and whatever else. But Phil, you were
desks.
Say something. Yeah, branded mask.
I was going to say, obviously, from the guidance that we were given, obviously I know you're in retail, but the same applies here. We've got desks that are backing onto each other, and you have to have 2 meters from one person to the other. So if you've got a customer that's sat on your desk, by rights at this moment in time, you're supposed to have 2 meters between you and the staff member.
Mm.
So that was all the kind of stuff that we had to think about when we were reopening the office. Now, I did take the decision to buy in brand new desks as part of it to give people more space on their desks. So we went from, on the main floor, from 60 desks down to 32, just to give everybody that space where they can, walk around kind of freely, really.
But what impact does that have on your business, Phil? I mean, you've been, all of us have been through a very tough time with limited income, more money going out than coming in, and then you're having to pay for all these extra things. A few bottles of hand sanitizer might not be much, but if you're talking about lots of new office furniture and then having fewer people on one floor, presumably the other people have got to go somewhere when they do come back. So how's that, how do you balance that out in terms of your bottom line?
Yeah, I think, we took the decision it's not going to go away. This is something that we've got, potentially till next year or the year after, until a vaccine is sort of found. And we need to get it right. We need to have a working environment that the staff are comfortable in, and that they, they're not worried about their health. So for us, it's about doing the right thing for the staff as much as what it is, for the business to get it trading.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to ask Tony and Sue, one of the things we heard about was whether you could use brochures anymore, because of course people come in, they pick them up, flick through them, they're thumbing them, they're looking, and then they put them back, or obviously sometimes they take them, but often they put them back. So are you able to keep your brochure racks open, or do you see that as a problem and are you having to perhaps go more digital? Tony, or Sue, what are you doing?
Sorry, I was going to say, we don't actually rack brochures anyway. So I think moving forward, we've actually taken, we've got a coffee table in the foyer area. So we've taken all magazines off of the table. And I think moving forward, probably we won't be giving out brochures, but we don't give that many out anyway. We rarely have anybody in that just wants to take brochures with them. So it's not something that I'm really that concerned about.
Not concerned for you. What about you, Tony?
Yeah, we still have our brochures out, but the customers are not allowed to go to the to go get the brochures themselves. We will pass them over. When we restock the brochure, then the staff will do it with gloves, etc. So we're still going to give brochures out, but we won't let them, anything that a customer actually, if you like, touches, then obviously we'll have to deal with that anyway. But they're not allowed now to go to the brochure stand.
Yeah,
we will pass over.
Because I was reading a report that in clothing retailers, if somebody touches or tries on an item of clothing, then it's got to be taken out the back and whatever they have to do to it, and it's 72 hours before they can put it back on the shop floor again. So I was just wondering how that would work, but that makes sense that you're only handing them the brochure, I guess, at the time when they've got to the stage when that's the holiday that they're really interested in, and then that you can restock it.
Yeah, well, we've also got, talking of costs, we've gone and brought a load of branded pens, because if people are signing booking forms when they do new bookings, and we've done some new bookings, so people are booking. So what we've done is, I thought, it is a great idea to get our name into their house, so everybody gets a free pen, because obviously they've got to sign with a pen. So we give them the pen now, they can take the pen away, we don't touch it. So, the staff has their own, but yeah, we give them their own pen. But yeah, and I'm thinking, good, that's them taking little idle travel into their house at the same time.
You never miss a marketing opportunity, do you, Tony?
Absolutely not.
I mean,
not a brand anything.
No, you'll brand anything. I know you will. But it is interesting. You say you've got your bit in the shopping centre, and the shopping mall said that you could do a bit of branding, saying we're back and all the rest of it. Have you done anything else to sort of market the fact that you're back? And because it's clearly important for you, isn't it? It's very much a face. And Sue's saying she does a lot on the phone, but for you, that face-to-face contact is you're a big part of the community there, aren't you?
Yeah, we realised that, you know, in the Mall itself, we needed to be seen. You know, we needed, firstly, to show we're still here. You know, we've contacted as customers regular. We do a lot on social media, so obviously we've told them on social media so we could get appointments in. But for the Mall itself, I did look at it as also as a marketing opportunity. So because at the moment the queues in the Mall are for, and they've got bigger queues than me, you know, and I hate to admit it, but the card factory queue is very big. So lots of fathers are obviously going to get Father's Day card, because I can see the queue is definitely spiralling ours. And Subway is doing quite well as well, I've noticed their queues. So again, it's that thing of our lights are on, you know, and maybe they don't want to travel now, then people, but at least they can see that we're still here. So yeah, so social media, we've done a lot, and we started to market on social media holidays and dates and things like that. So we've done that for the last 3 or 4 weeks, as opposed to just images of where you would want to go. We've actually done specific holidays, and we've seen it as,
and you say you've made bookings. Sorry, Tony, and you said you've made some new bookings. So where are people, you know, just out of interest, where are people, is there a trend at all? Are people looking for more remote exclusive places, or are they quite happy to just get away because they've been cooped up for so long?
Well, surprisingly, yesterday we did 5 bookings yesterday, and a lot of the bookings we've done have been for summer 21, and these are brand new bookings, and to the Med mainly. We're obviously, our base from near to Leeds Bradford with Jet2, we have a big massive, it's Mediterranean, and so summer 21, the Canaries have sold, Turkey, etc. These are the new ones. But actually, what was interesting this week is we had a booking yesterday for this August. We've had bookings for October and November as well. So we're just seeing that people are starting to look at this year, whereas a lot have been for summer 21, the new stuff we've done. So we've done some Caribbean and Maldives, and actually last week, before we opened, we did a couple of cruises as well. So it's gradually starting to come back, but certainly Mediterranean, beach Mediterranean, and we've done a few cities. We've done a few Icelands as well.
Okay, it's interesting. Well, you mentioned cruise, and I must ask you, Phil, because I imagine it's, being a cruise specialist, it's been pretty tough, and of course the cruise lines are still cancelling their, you know, the operations right out to October, November time, some even beyond that. So how has it been for you? Are you still dealing predominantly with cancellations and rebooks, or are you starting to see people looking ahead and making new bookings?
Surprisingly, in the last 5 weeks, we've had a 200% increase in new holiday traffic to our website. So it really is coming back. Those green shoots are starting to flow. And the biggest searches that we're seeing is for January, February, and March. And then when we narrow that down even further to look at destination, we're seeing the Far East, which, if you can imagine, it was the Far East that was the first kind of program affected when COVID was firstly kind of reported. So we're seeing those people rebooking for 2021. So it's really interesting. And then for summer, it's actually September 2021 that we're seeing a huge spike in demand. So yeah, we're not picking up the May and Junes, but we've got the January, February, March, and then, as I said, the September sales. And it's really positive, the numbers that are coming through.
Okay, I mean, which must be so encouraging, because there was a time when cruise was really in the spotlight with all of this. And actually, you're not the first. I know you're a cruise specialist, but I've spoken to other agents who say actually cruise, that's been quite a popular holiday choice, when some people worried there was quite a mountain decline for the cruise sector.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a mountain decline, but I think the people who are cruisers, they've kind of said, right, I'm going to go on my cruise. I know what the hygiene protocols are on board the ship, and they're not prepared to give it up. I think we need to re-engage or get people like the new to cruise back on board, because there was so much bad press, as you know, it's kind of turned them off. So that's
quite a big market for you, Phil. You were one of the agents that were very good at bringing totally new customers into the cruise sector.
Exactly. Well, I looked at our figures over the last 12 weeks, and 75% of our customers are still new to cruise coming through.
Okay.
So it's a
We're
big
doing something well. Is it price driven, Phil, or what? You know, can you put your finger on what's
I mean, there's some
driving it?
good deals out there. There are some very good deals out there at the moment. I think people are still looking for ideas. And it's about investigation, if you like. A lot of people are just investigating, you know, if I go on a cruise or if I go to this destination. So this, you know, not everybody's booking, but certainly that kind of research is happening at the moment.
Yeah, it's great to hear.
Yeah.
Sue, what about you? Because you operate a bit more in the higher end of the market, I guess, more luxury travel, perhaps a lot more long haul, and we know that short haul is going to come back sooner, or we'll be able to go there sooner than the long haul destination. So how's that affecting your business, and what are you seeing?
We have seen an interesting cruise, which I was quite surprised at because, like you said, it did take a bit of a knocking at the very beginning. But we, as I said earlier, we've done 2 Regent 7 Sea cruise bookings this week, which is really encouraging. I've got someone coming in tomorrow to book a P&O cruise. Prior to that, I did a Vietnam booking at the end of last week. Other than that, really, we've had inquiries for short haul and UK, but we have done a lot of marketing for UK because we figured that hopefully from the 4th or 5th of July, people will be able to travel within England. So we've done a lot of marketing on various types of holidays that you can do in the UK, including you know, the luxury lodges.
Yeah, no, I've seen a lot on the travel sites on Facebook. Lots of people putting up some domestic options.
We haven't had any new inquiries for this summer for any kind of long haul or short haul. We have had inquiries from our marketing for the UK. So I don't know.
How much do you think that the quarantine measures that have been put in place have affected this summer? Because there was a period, wasn't there, where we were thinking, well, maybe the summer won't be completely washed out and we might get something. And then, of course, the quarantine has been a problem. You're nodding, Sue. Has it been? Do you think that has been the turn people off?
Yes, I think it's a massive problem. I mean, stating the obvious, people can't take a week's holiday and then another 2 weeks off work to self-isolate. And also, I don't feel confident in trying to sell somebody a holiday, knowing that the Foreign Office is still advising against travel, and you know, this quarantine thing is in place. Hopefully by the end of June there'll be some notification that it's going to be lifted, or there'll be something else put in place to safeguard people coming home. But I think it's a customer confidence, but also I think it's an agent's confidence as well, because I wouldn't feel happy to sell somebody a holiday thinking, well, it's possibly going to get cancelled, because you're just asking for more problems down the line. So we have got people that have paid their balances to go in August. So we're hoping that they're going to be able to go, but you know, they did sort of ask questions about what would happen if the holiday gets cancelled. So we've told them what's happened over the last few months, that if it gets cancelled, hopefully they'll get a refund or they can transfer to next year. But I personally don't feel too confident in actually selling anything for the next 2 or 3 months until we have some clarity on what's going to be,
that it's going to go ahead and be possible. I understand that. Tony, what about you? I mean, are you reticent as well, or are you sort of hopeful that anything you sell will go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, I think the tide is turning a little bit, and hopefully, with the talk of air bridges and things like that, and obviously we need the Foreign Office advice to change as well. I think if you're honest with your customers, so anybody new booking, so like the people yesterday who booked August, because there is some good prices out there, but we will explain to them who they're booking with, what that operator's like about giving refunds and what to expect. There's certain bookings we wouldn't take if the operators maybe we haven't been happy with the way that they've dealt with the situation. So I'm not reticent. I think as long as we're honest with people and explain what could come if they don't travel. But absolutely, the 14-day isolation thing, we come in when people are paying balances. We've kept in touch with people way before the balance is due, but we've kept them up to date to give them the different options. And there's no doubt that when we get into it, once the 14-day self-isolation thing came in, we lost some more bookings or they moved to next year. So that's had a massive impact there. And what's been good, I mean, to be honest, I do a radio thing with BBC Radio Leeds, and they've actually got me on every 2 weeks now. So it's an hour's phoning. But I can see how the tone has changed. But people are certainly, obviously they're still mentioning refunds, but it's the 14-day isolation and insurance has been the questions that have been asked. So I now can tell them that some insurance companies are now covering it, so that's quite good.
But they're only covering, they're only covering it if you get COVID whilst you're abroad. Is that right? Is there any? As far as I know, there's no one offering a policy that. Sorry, Tony.
Yeah, so far that's all I've seen is you get COVID while you're there. So there's all these little factors for people to consider, and we tell them that, you know, we've got to explain all them little factors that they've got to understand. That's what they've got to consider when they're going to think about holiday. That's going to go quite soon, and hopefully middle of July we'll start seeing some holiday. It was good this week to see the news that TUI in Germany, you know, holiday makers going out to Mallorca. That's a positive sign for us, our industry, that we might not be, hopefully, too far away. But we need information. They need information about what happens on the flights, at the airport, when they get to the other side. So we've had hoteliers send us the videos of what they're doing at the hotels. So we're getting nearer, but we're still
and
just
do you think customers will be,
as long as they explain.
Sorry, Tony. Do you think customers, if they've got a holiday that they've got booked and they're hoping to still go ahead in August or whatever, you know, are they sort of aware that the holiday may not be the same experience as what they perhaps booked, you know, because of the different things that, you know, as you say, you're getting videos from hotels, it is going to be different. And do you see that being a problem, or do you think your customers kind of get that and they're still, even though they might not be able to do everything and go in every pool and eat in every buffets or whatever, do you think they'll be fine with that, or do you anticipate any backlash if people go, well, it wasn't what I booked, it wasn't what I paid for?
I think that's the next hurdle, really, and I think it's again, you know, educating and knowing what to expect. And again, back to the radio, I've said that this last few weeks, it's not what it's, you know, travel is not going to be what it used to be. You know, the hotel will only be, you know, partly full, so I expect different meal times, etc. So again, it's trying to explain, and obviously us knowing that, you know, what to expect for us customer. But I think more and more things are out there to tell people that's not the case. And so again, you know, it's that first step, isn't it, for people understanding that travel will have changed, whatever shape or form, and whether that's in the UK or whether that's abroad, it's definitely going to alter at the beginning.
Yeah, and a big education thing in the cruise industry as well, Phil. And of course, we're still waiting for the official guidelines for the cruise industry. I've been interviewing lots of cruise bosses about the things they're thinking about, but I guess a lot of your staff, it's another training level, isn't it, having to explain all the new things.
So. We know already what it's like on cruise ships, that, you know, they are very hygienic, they have this hand sanitizers. So in many cases, it's more advanced than what it would be in say, a hotel in Spain. But we don't know what the new norm is going to be. And if you start changing that experience, are people then going to say, well, this is not what I paid for? So I think that is the worry. And even so, you know, people who are going on package holidays, for example, if they get touted in resort by these insurance companies saying, you know, you've paid for this experience, but have you had the experience you paid for? Potentially that's going to get another can of worms open. So it's all interesting how it's going to play out over the coming months.
Do you think, I mean, what you're suggesting there, Phil, is in fact what happened with the fake sickness claims? I mean, that was something that was a real blight on the industry for a while. There were people in resorts targeting people, suggesting they make claims falsely, and it was a problem. But obviously, the industry fought back and managed to get a lot of that sort of stamped out. But I mean, do you anticipate that could be something that happens this summer and beyond?
Absolutely, because these people are out there, and you know, they're like sharks. They're looking for the next big buck. So when it's, you know, it's PPI one year, then it's, you know, food sickness claims the next year, and now it's something else. So it's any way of making money at the end of the day. So yeah, I envisage that we're going to see an influx of that happening.
And how do we prevent that, or what's, you know, how can we avoid that happening to the industry?
I ain't got a clue at the moment. It's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, like you said, it's what expectations they had when they booked the holiday, and have we as travel agents then re-advised that customer that the experience is going to be different now to what it was when we sold you the holiday. So I think if we're doing our jobs, we should be actually ringing out our customers and saying, right, just to preempt the situation, you know, you are going to have limited meal times. You're going to have to follow social distancing. So your experience is not going to be as per what you booked. Yeah. And it's almost like you need that customer then to say, yes, I'm happy to proceed with that holiday.
Almost get them to sign something again.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the other issue that some people have raised is that people who have booked haven't yet cancelled because they've been waiting to see what happens. Now their flight and their holiday may well be going ahead, but they don't want to go because they're still nervous, or they don't want that experience that they know is going to not be what they booked, and so they want to cancel. But of course, will they get their money back if the flight and the holiday is actually going ahead? So that's another worry. I know some agents are sort of anticipating that could be some tough conversations going ahead. What do you think, Sue? You're nodding.
In the cruise industry, I think we're quite lucky because we have the cruise lines which are allowing the customers to change up until about 48 hours before. So we are quite lucky in that respect. Obviously for ourselves, where we have flights involved, because obviously we provide our own flights and hotels, we have insured against that. So we can actually still move the holiday should they wish to do so.
Okay, that's good. And Sue, you were nodding. Is that something that worries you?
Yes, it is, because with the September holidays approaching, I know that things might start to get back to normal by then, but we have got people that have said they're a little bit daunted about the idea of going this year. But I think the majority of the tour operators that we work with have been excellent, and I think their flexible terms and conditions will still be okay to postpone and move them to another date. I've got some calls to make tomorrow for people that are going in September.
Okay.
They haven't cancelled. They've been waiting to see what happens, and that's all you can do at this moment. I think you've got to manage their expectations and tell them that things will be different from now on, but it's a difficult one because, as you say, a lot of the airlines will be operating, so if those people aren't sitting on their seats, we don't know whether they're going to be able to get the refunds. But the majority of the people that we've got in September are thinking of either hoping for the best, fingers crossed that they can go, or looking to go next year. But that's conversations we're going to have over the next few days.
Okay. All right. I'm conscious of time, all of you. It's been fascinating so far, but I just wanted to ask you one final thing, and that is there anything that an operator or your consortia or the trade associations or us, anybody, could do to help you? Because it's still a challenging period. It's great that we're starting to see green shoots, but there's still some, obstacles. So is there anything that would really make a difference to what you're doing day to day that you could call on for support with?
I mean, I went to the some of the media today, some of the newspapers, because I've been quite frustrated by the bad press around refunds to customers, because it's almost like the travel agent has been tarnished by that we're trying to cheat people out of money. Customers do not understand that we're part of a chain and that it takes an amount of time to get that money down the line. And I think that the press need to better educate the customers that, we're not denying anybody any refunds, but, this is a pandemic situation and things are taking time. What we're coming up against it every day, customers doing chargebacks, putting up bad reviews, and it's all around refunds. Well, we're working around the clock here, guys, to actually get this money in. And I think that is my frustration, where, the media are not supporting us and saying, you will get your money back, but it is going to take time.
Yeah, yeah. The agents really have been caught in the middle, haven't they, in the firing line?
Really are.
Tony, anything from you? I mean, do you agree with Phil, or is there anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, refunds obviously is still a major thing, headache as a travel agent. You know, we're quite lucky that a lot of our operators have acted correctly and responsibly, and considered the long game, that obviously customers need them refunds as quick as they can, and we give our customers refunds as quick as we can. So that's still going to be a major headache for all of us to fight that. And some operators haven't, definitely, and obviously some airlines have not reacted the way they legally should. But I also look at it as a positive at the moment. I think that the tide is turning out there. You know, as I said, I think this week, I actually think for me as a retail agent on a high street, what's been good is seeing people coming out into the shopping mall. I mean, there's lots of people here. I know there's still meant to be social distancing, but I think I'm looking at it as an opportunity that actually people who've been frustrated, who maybe can't get in contact with people, they can always have been in contact with us. So I look at it the flip way. This week's all about the high street. It certainly is not dead. If you look in our mall, there's plenty of people around. So I think it's an opportunity for us on the high street, and that's my week this week. I've got plenty of battles to fight, definitely, now I'm back in the office. I've got more things at my disposal. So tour operators that have not refunded my customers the money, watch out, because I'm coming for you and I want it back. But it's a positive today. It's retail is still, and the high street is out. Come out, you know. The first time I went shopping was 2 weeks ago. It was another freedom, honestly. I was skipping around the car park, not many people there. With my trolley, I enjoyed it. But so the high street's not dead and retail's not dead, if you know. So I'll have it as an opportunity.
Okay, I love that, and I would love to say let's end on that positive note, but I'm a journalist and I can't let that go, Tony. When you say you're coming for them, watch out. I mean, all joking aside, what do you mean? You say you're going to try and get that money back, but what are you actually going to do?
The money needs to come back. So whether it's airlines, tour operators,
and what are you going to do? Are you going to name and shame them? Are you going to de-rack them? Are you going to
name and shame them? And if we have to take legal action with them, I will as well. You know, in the end, at the beginning, it was difficult for everybody, and we didn't know what was going on. We didn't know how it was going to last. I see the CMA have obviously started to flex their muscles. So, you know, it's about time the government also did the same. And that chain that Phil was on about, you know, Advantage showed a good diagram to show how that worked. But, you know, the government needs to start pressing and actually getting what these companies should do legally. You know, we've had no debt. I've decided to, you know, do the bounce back loan, etc., because I believe in my company, and where I've had to give refunds where I haven't got it, we've done that because my customer is king. We're nothing without as customers. So, you know, we're 4 months down the line. Some of these companies have the money. You know, some tour operators telling me, "Oh, we've not been refunded yet." How do I know that? I haven't got a clue what you've been refunded. And actually, I'm not bothered, and my customer's not bothered, because unfortunately they're in the game of giving, you know, it was a 14-day refund, and I understand that they couldn't do 14 days, but we're 4 months down the line, so they should have other things in place. So the government need to sort the people and the whole chain, make sure, let's get the cog wheeling, let's get people get, you know, positive again, let's get money back in the pocket so they can get it back and spend again. Sorry, there's my rant. I wanted to be a positive one, but you know, it's still the.
Yeah, I agree.
Phil agrees, and it's well said. And my supplement question would be, who should pull together that list of operators and airlines that aren't refunding and taking it to the government to make sure the government puts that pressure on? Because, you know, I don't know whether everyone's having the same experience with the same suppliers or whether some people are just out in the cold. I just don't know. And I guess we just, you know, we need this list we need to know who it is that are not behaving legally and responsibly, and we need to get somebody to, you know, to pull that together in a coordinated way to get that action taken. Sue, you can have the final word. What would and we can end on a positive, because our poor Tony, he tried to, and I didn't let him. What would help you, Sue?
Well, if you'd have asked this question on the 23rd, 24th, 25th of March, I'd have had a list of things that would have helped us. But things have slowly but surely panned out. We now understand the process. We know that the 14-day thing was never going to be achievable anyway. So it is calmer than it was. The first few weeks were absolute panic, and I know everybody will be saying the same thing, and nobody knew what anybody else was doing, so it was carnage. But it is panning out. It is it's an easier process now, and we do understand exactly where things are, what things are happening and when. The media probably doesn't help. Some of the reports in the Which magazine, etc., they haven't helped, but I think they're coming around and trying to explain that actually it's the travel agent is in the middle here, not holding people's money. So it's a lot better than it was, and I'd say that we've got a much clearer view of the way forward than we did a couple of months or so back.
Okay, all right. Well, that is a good note to end it on. Although I would like to keep talking to you, because you're very interesting and I'm learning a lot, and it's just a delight that you're all looking so positive, you're all smiling, and you're starting to see green shoots, as you say. But I'm really grateful for your time. I hope you carry on getting people through your doors and calling your call centre, Phil. So thank you to Tony from Idle Travel, to Sue from Eagle Travel, and to Phil from Cruise Nation. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.